Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I am your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs, and I'm also a legal document assistant, LDA, based in Greater Los Angeles area. It's Step 2 Tuesdays. This is where we talk about your financial disclosures. So let's kind of go through this as an overview so you can really think about, Claudia says this step is awful for people, so what can I do to prepare? So one of the things you're going to want to make sure is that you have access to your tax returns. Now, if you and your spouse file taxes jointly, then they should have access to them as well, because they should be able to log in and find that information. People don't always have access to things like that. They should, or they don't know how to find it. I don't know. And I'm not talking about older people, like some younger people. They helpless when it comes to technology and logging into stuff. I don't understand it. But if you are married to someone like that, help them out. Go ahead and download the last 2 years of your joint tax returns, because they can't find them. They don't know what to do. It's okay. Help them out. So you're going to need your tax returns. You are going to need the last 2 months of your pay stubs. And some people get really bent out of shape about this. You only need 2 months of my pay stubs. Now, let me make this note. When I work with people, it's because they're committed to staying out of court. There's not there's not spouses that are hiding money. People aren't trying to steal or get over or take someone to the cleaners. Those are not my people. Those aren't the people that I work with. This is because we don't do discovery and mediation. So the people that I work with, they disclose all of their information. So when I'm asking you for 2 months of pay stubs, it's because that is what the state or the county is asking for. If you want to ask your spouse for more, okay, but remember what I just said about your taxes? Right there. It's right there. Okay. You're going to need your most current bank statements, bank accounts, savings accounts, investment account statements, retirement statements. You want to get those statements. If they're emailed to you, make sure put a little star on them so you can find them. If they are snail mailed to you, put them in the same place so that you can put your hands on them. You want to make sure you also know where to put your hands on the paperwork for any and all property that you own. It's so funny. When I ask someone, when I first meet with them, okay, how much property do you have? Or how many homes do you have? Or do you just have one? It sounds so snobby. And that's not what I mean. It's just, you never know. Some people don't own any land. Other people are like, yeah, I got this, and then I got the house next door, and then I got the house 2 cities over, and then I have this, and I have this in another state. And you're just like, whoa, okay, cool. Oh, and I have all of these RVs and trucks and all these things. You're just like, I never know. So if I ask you that, one, I'm not trying to be snooty, and two, it's perfectly okay if you own a lot or don't own a lot. There's no judgment either way. I'm just trying to get all the facts. So if you own multiple properties, I need to know that. All right, so deeds, things like that for those properties. Is there money owed on those properties? Mortgage statements. Do you have credit card debts? Do you have student loan debt? Do you owe money to a family member? Any sort of statement, things like that you get. You need to have a copy of that. Then, especially if you're not the person who does all of the household bills, you're going to want to figure out what your monthly bills are. In particular, your cell phone bills, your utility bills, those types of things. Getting a handle on that now, even just getting your mind wrapped around it now, will help you. It's not going to be so surprising when you sit down and do your financial disclosure. So this last point about bills and things like that, it's because when you fill out the FL 150, that's your income and expense declaration. And they want to know what your monthly expenses are. Now, you can say what your actual expenses are, what your proposed needs are going to be in terms of expenses, or what your estimated expenses are. This is why I say, if you can get your hands on these utility bills, if you know how much you spend on your cell phone every month, or if you add up all your streaming services, how much do you spend? How much do we all spend on that every month? It's not, that's stupid, that's stupid, that's stupid. It's just a way to put it on paper in black and white. These are, the approximate expenses every month, and this is what your income is. And then it goes back to your pay stubs, because that FL-150, this is really important when you are involved with child support or spousal support. That FL-150 is going to be required. It's supposed to be filed anyway. Some people don't file it if there's no support involved at all in their cases, but if there is support involved in your cases, then you're going to need to file that FL-150, and you're going to need to attach your last 2 months of your pay stubs. And yes, your spouse is going to get it, and yes, it is going to the court. So you are listing your employer, you're listing your proposed expenses, you're listing your average monthly income. Do you have commissions? Do you make bonuses? About how much do you spend on health insurance? And what about for your kids? Do you have health insurance for the kids? What's the name of that health insurance company? And how much money a month do you spend on that? Oh yeah, and do you pay for any extra educational related expenses or childcare so that you can work? They want to know those things. Then the other one is the FL-142, your schedule of assets and debts. And that goes into making sure that you have all of those statements. Because if you put on your account that you are on your sheet that you have this account at a particular bank, the expectation is, it's more than an expectation, it's on the forms. You need to then hand your statement. You got to get that statement of that account to your spouse. Your spouse needs to get a copy of that statement. This is why if you gather all these statements now, you'll have them. And you'll be able to look at them and be like, oh, and okay, what's the ending balance? Okay, it's easy. I will say, things go up and down, right? We know that. The market goes up and down. Your mortgage will go down a little bit more slowly. Your bills will fluctuate as you pay your credit card down. Your monthly minimum amount due will also change. That's okay. Just do the best you can. It's okay if it's not exact to a penny. That's not fraud. Because if you try to and I've had someone who just kept changing her FL-142. Oh, the numbers have changed. Honey, the numbers are going to change every day. You're never going to get divorced if you don't just stop and turn the paperwork in. So there's this balance between accurate and perfect. Be accurate as possible, but know that tomorrow when you go grocery shopping, the checking account balance is going to be different. That's okay. So you want to be as complete as possible. There are a couple of the forms saying, we are disclosing this information. Yes, I've served this on my spouse, those types of things. You want to be honest in your forms, though. You don't want to commit fraud. You want to be as clear as possible. But sometimes people forget, and that just happened yesterday, actually. I was in a mediation session. We were actually settling, and we were going over everything, all of the accounts. Okay, who's getting this? Who's getting that? And the husband said, actually, I forgot about this particular account. I was with, I don't know, one of their financial professional people, whatever. Or maybe it was somebody from the company. They reminded me that I have this. So this is what we're going to do with it. Wife, how do you feel about that? Okay. She was cool with it because they were going to split it in half anyway. The intent was not to defraud her. It was not to intentionally leave it off his forms. It was a mistake and it was rectified. Now, he could amend those forms and give them to her, but the FL-142 isn't filed anyway. As long as, she was okay, all right. And this is not the first time this has happened. It happens more than you know that we're in mediation and someone has forgot to put something on the form, or the spouse says, hey, you didn't put this on the form. And as a mediator, I'm like, well, it's on my list. You didn't put that on the form? Oh, it's gone on my list now. So we make sure we talk about this, because we need to have things detailed in that final agreement. So if you forget something, own it, put it out there, disclose it, figure out how or if it's going to be divided, and keep on going. It doesn't have to be that overwhelming. It is intent matters. Perception matters too, but intent matters. Were you intending to defraud and hide? No? All right. Oops. It's out there now. Let's make sure it's on these lists. Other times there are some glaring changes, some glaring inconsistencies in these documents, and you may need to refile them. You may need to amend your step 2 documents because they're not honest, or there was something really major you forgot about, or maybe you lost your job. And if this is taking you a long time, I met with someone yesterday also who had been going through a divorce for 2 years. At this point, their disclosures are no longer accurate. They're probably going to need to redo them. Every situation is unique. You want to be as honest as possible. If there are glaring differences, if there's major changes, you can always amend your documents, refile them, reserve your spouse, so that you have the most accurate information. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. And I don't need you overwhelmed at this step. You want to get a divorce, right? Get this step done. And the rest of it is going to be downhill from there. You're going to be skating downhill. Do you skate downhill? I don't know. I wouldn't. Anyway, you're going to be going downhill. It's going to be a lot easier. You got this. You can do it. Reach out for help. If you've got questions, leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more tips, or so that you can just, be like, what is she talking about? She's silly. Come on back for that too. Have a great one.